What's up, guys? Welcome to Game Time. This is Super089 here, and this week we're taking a look at Rift. Right here is the character select screen. I already have 3 characters created, one of which, this guy actually, is my main character. He's my level 50. But for the purposes of this first look, we're going to go ahead and create a character, and it's very easy to do, actually. Well, the first thing we can do, we can take a look at the servers. There's a medium amount of servers. There's not a whole lot, but there's a decent number. And we're going to go ahead and we're just going to pick a random server. So we'll select it, and I have no characters on this server. So it's going to jump right into creating a character. I can be a guardian or I can be a member of the Defiant, and these are 2 factions, 2 warring factions. It says the Guardians are the chosen of the gods, brought back from death to save the world from the corruption of the dragons. Each Guardian has a great destiny to become a celestial hero. And for the Defiants, it says Defiants have taken fate into their own hands, turning away from the Vigil to pursue their own plan. They harness the power of the planes to fuel magical technologies for the defense of Talara. For the purposes of this first look, even though my main character is Defiant, we'll go ahead and choose Guardian. We'll click Next. And right here is the character creation screen. We have we have 3 races we can pick from. The Mathosian, who look to be the sort of the humans of the Guardians, and it says long before it was destroyed by the Shade, cold Mathosia was ever the home of legendary heroes and warriors. Well, so it doesn't really describe that race very well, but for the High Elves, it says the oldest of the races of Talara, the High Elves are the protectors of the land, wise and skilled, their tranquil nature, master ruthless dedication of the gods. And then the Dwarves. It says the Dwarves are known for their pragmatic nature, but are also curious and creative people, masters of whatever craft they employ. I don't really care which. I think we'll go with the High Elf. And we have 4 base classes you can pick from. We're going to actually expand on the number of classes in just a little bit. We can be a warrior, a mage, a rogue, or a cleric. So let's go ahead and select warrior. And it's got a gear preview. You can see low-level gear, mid-level gear, and then last but not least, you can see what you look like at end game. So it's pretty nice looking gear that they have available. So we can click next, and it's going to ask me to select a and here's where it gets interesting. I've selected a base class, which is a warrior, but within the warrior class there are a number of what they call souls that you can pick from, and that's probably one of the main attractions of Rift is its multi-classing system. You can, within a single archetype, you can be different classes, or perhaps more than one class at once, or even I think up to 3, you can have up to 3 different souls for any one build. And this right here shows you kind of what each build does. The Destroyer is more of the DPS warrior. The Pathfinder is more of a support type class. The Defender, the Dark Thane, and the Hoplite are all tank classes. So we'll go ahead and go with the Destroyer. We'll click Next, and here is character customization. The character customization in Rift is a little different than in a lot of MMOs. You have a wide variety of options you can change, but everything is done by a slider. It's especially when you choose what kind of what kind of style you want your face to be, and it's kind of interesting how you go about doing this. You just move this little icon around this triangle here, and you get your character's face to looking like you want it. And then of course you can move around some more sliders, and we could spend a lot of time on this, but we'll just go ahead and select him and leave him like he is. We'll randomize his name. We'll click next. And here we go. Alright, and this is the first thing I've seen since I've logged into the game. Rift bonuses are in effect. Active subscribers, looks like they get a bunch of bonuses, so we'll go ahead and close that window. Here's a tutorial down here at the bottom. We don't need to know how to do all that. We know how to move our character, so we're going to click Don't Show Future Tips, and we're going to close this out. I have a little add-on right here, Simple Meter. It's just sort of a DPS meter. I'll just go ahead and push it off to the side. And okay, looks like I've got to go talk to this chick right here. Let's see what she has to say. I'm going to click accept, And I know I'm already going to have to go way down here, so I'm going to try to get away with just falling down. And it looks like I can do exactly that without dying, so that's good. And I'm going to go talk to this girl here. Going to finish my quest. Going to click accept. And I'm going to go outside, and I'm going to move the simple meter because it's like right in front of my quest. I have my quest tab. And I'm going to talk to this NPC here, see what she has to say. Gonna click finish, and I've got to kill 6 Ashen Defilers. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick. And while I'm killing these guys, I just want to tell you a little bit about the game, what I know so far. Rift is very standard. It's very standard fare for an MMO. It doesn't do a lot unique. You have your basic quest progression, quest grinding. You have your basic dungeon grinding, and you have raiding at the end game. And of course, last but not least, you also have player or instance-based player versus player matches. And what I said, like I said, it doesn't do a lot unique. It really is more. It's really more of the same. It's the textbook definition of more of the same. But what it does really, really well. Rift is not one of those MMOs that try to copy WoW that fall flat on their face a couple of months after launch. Rift has actually been out for a while. It's been out for over a year now, and it still has a fairly healthy, dedicated population. So Rift is a bit of an anomaly in the MMO space, because a lot of games you see, especially games that model World of Warcraft, they have great success at the beginning, and then they just sort of drop off the map, and then you just never hear anything out of the game again, and they go into maintenance mode shortly after release. But Rift, on the other hand, actually has a major expansion coming up in about 5 days, actually, which supposedly triples the size of the game world and adds, I believe, don't quote me on this, but 10 brand new levels of content for high-level players. And that's even more content than what Blizzard provided with their Mist of Pandaria expansion. So it's clear that Trion Worlds, they're trying very, very hard to not only please their current player base, but to compete with other MMOs like World of Warcraft. And so I finished this quest, and I have to collect imbued swords, it says. And of course you can see it's not very hard to figure out where to go for your quest, because all you really have to do is you can see on your mini map here where I'm supposed to go, that little yellow circle, but if you couldn't see that, you would hit the M key to open up your map, and right there, that circle, that's where I have to go. But I leveled up, and I want to explain something. I can press the N key, and it brings up my soul tree. Like I said before, Rift is famous for its multi-classing, and I have a huge amount of skills and abilities I can pick from to customize my character any way I like. But for the purposes of this first look, we'll keep things simple and just go with the basics. So we'll just put all of our points in one tree. And in Rift, it handles getting skills differently than a lot of MMOs. You still have to visit your trainer to level up your skills. Like, say, when you reach a certain level and it's time for you to get a skill upgrade, you still have to visit your trainer. But the initial version of the skill you get just by distributing points in your skill tree. So if you're leveling up and you get a brand new skill, you can use it right away, and you don't have to worry about going back to your faction capital and visiting a trainer. And it looks like there's a quest over here that I must have skipped. I didn't realize it, but let's see what he has to say, because I don't want to fall behind. I don't want to get under-leveled real quick. And it's sort of it's something that I want to go ahead and mention, because I didn't notice this before. But I've played Rift a few times in the past. Obviously I have a level 50. And every time I've leveled up a character on the Guardian side, this little area right here, the sun is not shining, and the sky is definitely not blue. It's very orange and sort of dreary color. I wonder what's happened and why all of a sudden there's sunshine everywhere. It's sort of strange because everything else quest wise I believe is the same. So it's weird that the lighting effects would be so different. This game and combat wise is I have a complaint combat wise about this game. Combat wise, it is standard to a point. However, I think that the Trion, the developers of Rift, I think that they abuse the combo point system too much. In a lot of MMOs, you have what they call a combo system, whereas if you attack one time, you build a combo point. And in my case, you can see what basically amounts to combo points directly below my health bar on the top left, where you see those three swords. If I attack 3 times, I can unleash what they call a finisher attack, which is my highest damage ability. It certainly makes combat simplistic, but I think that's a problem because combat in Rift feels too formulaic, too simplistic, too boring in some respects. And I think that has a lot to do with it. A lot of classes, they do feel the same. There needs to be more variety in how each individual class actually plays. But again, I think that stems from the fact that Rift has so many classes to begin with. I can't tell you exactly how many classes Rift actually has, but it has more than probably any other game it's competing with on the market. And I think that's a lot of the reason why so many classes play the same, because you can't have a completely different experience for as many classes as Rift actually provides you. The classes in Rift, in terms of different styles of gameplay, there really aren't that many in Rift. There's not much more than you would find in any MMO, but the wide variety of classes is simply a way in which you can customize your character to such a great degree. And I just finished those 2 quests, and I'm going to go ahead and talk to this next NPC who is way over there, so I'm just going to run past all this stuff and hope I don't get attacked on my way there. And I don't think I'm going to have to worry about being attacked because it looks like literally everything in this zone, at least up until this point, is passive, meaning that they're not actually going to attack me unless I attack them. Graphically speaking, Rift is interesting to me. Graphically speaking, Rift, in my humble opinion, graphically speaking, Rift is a mixed bag. I think that Rift looks really good some of the time and really bad at other points in time. And it's sort of weird because I don't know how to explain it much better than that, other than just to say that it just has a very inconsistent look to it. Some zones look very, very good, and others just look downright ugly or unfinished. And I don't really know why that is, but that is a problem that I've always had with Rift. I know a lot of people say that Rift is one of the best looking MMOs on the market. I disagree. I think that it looks good in parts, like I said, but as a whole, it's graphically speaking, it's very, very inconsistent. So the quest I just got, I have to click on these little machines. I have to click on, looks like 2 of them, two more of them. And then I have another quest. It says I have to retrieve sanctified spears from Ardenburg Horrors, which are these little guys that are floating around right here. So I'm going to go ahead and kill some of these guys. I don't know if I'll kill them all before I get to the next machine I'm supposed to click on. And I'm supposed to loot those sanctified spears from these guys. Right, that's 2 down, but here it looks like another machine spawned, so I'm going to go ahead and click that. And got that quest done. And I've got to kill 6 more of these guys. See, very standard questing. That's another thing that sort of detracts from the Rift experience. They don't really try to do anything interesting. Like I said, what they do well. I mean, I'm not going to say Rift is buggy, and I'm not going to say Rift has lots of fundamental flaws, because it doesn't. It's just very, very generic. And I think that's why Rift, even though I have a level 50, it just isn't one of my favorite MMOs. It isn't an MMO that I thoroughly enjoy. And while I think for a long period of time I was really excited about playing the expansion, I just don't know if I have any desire to play the new expansion to Rift anymore. I really don't. I just sort of feel incredibly indifferent about it. I've got into the beta and I've ran around the zones a few times. And again, let me stress, it's very high quality stuff. Probably better than what's found in Mists of Pandaria. I just don't care about it. And I don't know what else to say. I just, there's something about Rift, and I can't put my finger on it, but there's something about Rift that just, it just turns me away from the game. It just doesn't, it lacks, I think it lacks a certain soul. You know, if you played World of Warcraft, and dare I say, even Star Wars The Old Republic, those games have a certain personality, a certain soul. But where is the soul to Rift? What personality does it have? What makes Rift stand out from the pack? Why would I play Rift above other MMOs? Beyond feature-wise, of course. And that's a hard question to answer. Because there are always, in addition to extra features, there are always certain intangible factors in all MMOs that just grab players' attention more than other things. And I think Rift lacks those fundamental aspects. Rift, in many ways, I've always considered to be the Walmart brand MMO. It's like the generic, store-bought brand MMORPG. And I don't... That sounds like an insult, and I guess it is. But, again, I'm not criticizing Rift in terms of quality. It's just, I don't... Something about Rift that just doesn't stick with me. And I think that a lot of people, I don't know if it's the majority of people, but I think that a lot of people probably feel the same way. And I think that's why Rift isn't more successful, because by all accounts, it's probably one of, if not the most solid MMO on the market outside of WoW. So more people should be playing the game, but it lacks a certain something, I think, that keeps people interested. So this quest right here tells me I have to go pray at this altar. So I'm going to do that. And I just got attacked by this guy who's invisible. I'm going to go ahead and kill him real quick. Yeah, that didn't take long at all. I'm going to go ahead and pray at this altar, see what happens. It says use the Elven Dagger to kill these guys over here. I got to kill 6 of them. Deathbound Thralls. So let's see where they are. Okay, here they are. What happens if I just click the dagger right away? Okay, well I used the dagger, but I guess I still have to kill these guys on my own. Or maybe I have a little bit of help with that thing that spawns whenever I click the button. And I killed 2 of them. And this is the third one, or no, excuse me, that's the second one. Because the counter on the quest journal is actually keeping up with how many times I've spawned or how many times I've used the dagger, not how many mobs I've killed. And I just used it 3 times. I'm halfway done with this quest. Gonna go ahead and use it again over here. Attack this guy. And well, I thought. Wait a minute. I don't want to kill the mob before I spawn the spirit there. And I just leveled up, and we'll distribute the points again right after this fight. And I got 1 soul point. So, shouldn't take us long to kill this guy here. And, okay, he's dead. I'm going to press the N key. And I'm going to just click on this strength button again, distribute the points. And looks like I've got some more skills and abilities. So, let's see what I've got. Let's press the P key to open up my abilities window. And it says, let's see, Bull Rush. Charges at the enemy, dealing 68 to 76 damage. Keep that. Soldier's Bearing increases physical damage by 5%. That's actually a buff, so we'll go ahead and use that one. So let's try this new ability that I got, Bull Rush. Okay, so apparently that is like a charge skill, is as clear as that could possibly be. And I just finished this quest here, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it in. I'm going to go all the way back over here. As you can see on the map, I've got to go to that little blue, or that check mark icon there. And, well, I think that about wraps it up in terms of Rift. This tutorial zone actually drags on for about another 5 or 6 levels, and it's pretty much, I've showed you everything basically that you're going to see here. Well, maybe here's some armor that I'm about to get, and I equip the armor so you can see this breastplate that I have. Oh, and before I leave, I want to talk about this. You can press the I key, and Rift has a looking for group window, which is a dungeon finder, which is awesome. It was actually, I want to think, the second MMO after to implement a dungeon finder. I might be wrong on that. Don't kill me if I'm wrong, but I love the fact that while they initially said that no, they were not planning on including a dungeon finder, they listened to public opinion, they listened to their fans, and they put one in there. And I have to applaud them for that, because as I've said before, dungeon finders are the future for these theme park MMORPGs. It would almost be impossible for me to go back to a theme park MMO today and to play it if it didn't have a dungeon finder or some way that I could get into groups for low level dungeons and even high level dungeons when you reach the level cap. It's just so much easier than having to stand in the faction hub and just spam looking for group. I couldn't go back to those days. Anyway, if you want to check out Rift, you can play I think it's a 14-day. You can play, I think, a 14-day free trial, but all you have to do is check out their website, which is in the video description. So if you want to give Rift a look, check out the video description, and I'll see you guys next week.